have it.
Hello and welcome to the program. I am Ekene Ndulue. The 9th National Assembly is set to resume next week to wrap up the closing few weeks of its 4-year tenure. Pending that time, this edition of the program will focus once again on issues around the incoming 10th National Assembly and the incoming administration. And in the week, President-elect Bola Tinubu returned to Nigeria following his months-long break in Paris, France. Among those who gave him a rousing welcome were members of the ruling APC, including some senators past and present. They give their candid opinions on what they expect from the incoming administration, as well as what should be the important considerations for who becomes the president of the Senate.
Nigerians should expect to have a 100-yard dash when this new government comes into place. The thoughts and all the planning that's been going on behind the scene is such that we have very strong belief that this government will hit the ground running. We know that the president-elect has been away for 1 month rest, and it's not just an ordinary rest, a rest of thought, rest of planning, rest of deep reflections on the country and all that is going on here. And I believe that what is coming will be great surprise to Nigerians. There's always been a yearning for zoning in Nigeria since 1999. You know, this Fourth Republic has come with a new dimension, and everybody expects that there should be zoning whenever government is about to be formed. And I believe that both assemblymen and senators in this country know that there will be some form of zoning so that they can have a spread of all the principal positions in that sector of government. So I believe it's something that ought to be done, and it will be done. This is not a matter that is an open door kind of issue. You always have to put a lot of things into consideration. So it's not something you can just stand and say this is the way it's going to be. I believe that when it finally comes out, it will be acceptable to Nigerians. That's the most important thing. Inclusiveness is all we are looking for.
You see, politics is about meetings. We have already you have a vice president from the north, and we believe that with the scenario we have, it's automatic that the Senate president will come from this house. And I'm sure that the party leadership will not allow rancor. They will have to sit down and announce the zoning, and then identify credible candidates. We already have candidates like Senator Akpabio, Senator Ojikalu. These are credible candidates that I'm sure among them the party will come up with one of them.
I think this is a very auspicious time to give one's views about the emergence of the leadership in the 10th Assembly. My admonition to my colleagues and all Nigerians alike is to look at the trajectory and the how one has come around in the scheme of things, the antecedents, character and characteristics of such people angling for this position. And I can say without any fear of contradiction that the people that are putting themselves forward for this position are people that are eminently qualified and have paid their dues. And amongst them are someone who had been there, who at the time that it mattered, he worked for APC. He did everything that he could to ensure the stability of the government of Muhammadu Buhari. And that person has even decided to leave his position, a very important principal position within the scheme of the Senate leadership, if only to support APC administration. And that person is now angling for the position of the Senate presidency. I think he has paid his dues. It's left to us to pay him back and ensure the stability, consistency, focus, and vision of our party. We are in a situation where we have to comply by the spirit of the Constitution. A situation where everybody will have a sense of belonging and self-determination. It's very, very necessary that if we have to have a stable government, a very peaceful separation of powers, we also have to consider what the Constitution says about giving everybody a sense of belonging. You can see even within the constitutional provision where we are admonished and encouraged to ensure that every part of this country forms part of the governance of this country. And I think with that, we'll be able to have our acts together.
To be honest, I want to give thanks to Almighty God for the safe return of the President-elect from his medical trip. And from what we have seen, he had a very good rest. And also thank God Almighty once again for my re-election to the Nigerian Senate. The issue of Senate presidency is a function of the senators, and particularly all the senators-elect, including those who are returning, and they are all my colleagues. I've had the privilege of serving the Senate before as a minority leader, and so any senator should be ready, if his colleagues so wish, to avail himself to be used as a Senate president. So the chances for somebody like me will be very high because of the fact that my colleagues already know my track record, both in terms of governance, in terms of legislative business, and even the wide range of experience I've had in politics. I don't know. Without being boastful, I've had the privilege of being chairman of this campaign, that campaign, and also I was vice chairman of the last presidential campaigns, and I've had the privilege of being a commissioner for almost 6 years in 3 ministries. I've had the privilege of being a governor for 8 years. I've also had the privilege of being a minority leader of the Nigerian Senate and also a distinguished senator. And very recently I resigned as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I intend to merge the experiences both in the executive arm and the parliamentary arm to ensure that the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria goes smoothly and of course attends to the yearnings of all Nigerians. We have a lot of issues to address, and then we have to make the right laws to attract the right investment and also give confidence to the electorate and address youth restiveness in the country. And I believe we will succeed with a man like President Tinubu incoming, who has done it before. The economy must be tackled. He met Lagos at 600 million a month in terms of IGR, and today Lagos is doing so well. I'm not the governor of Lagos, but I can tell you they make over 50 billion in a month as IGR. So I think we need to plug the loopholes of leakages in the system and do everything possible to generate revenue for the country, so we can take care of the debts and at the same time plan for the future generations, and then infrastructurally and otherwise. It will be well.
You know I'm the best. I don't need to talk about that. Among those people running, I'm the best, and I will deliver. I'm the most trusted. I will never betray anybody. I'm not part of betrayal, and I'm not acting film. I don't tell lies. You know where I stand. If I stand with you, I stand with you. If I don't stand with you, I don't stand with you. I'm the best candidate to work for President-elect.
What are you putting forward?
Honesty. I'm committed to Nigerian people. I'll be loyal to Nigerian people. I'll be loyal to Nigerian people, and carry my colleagues along. That's what I'm putting forward. I'm capable of doing my fight. I'm a war general. I'm a fighter, and I'm capable of fighting my way through. The president will bless me. Well, to be honest, the Nigerian people, we have a lot of work to be done. We will look at security, we look at the economy, we look at to bring back people. And we need to bring back Nigerians to believe in our party. There's a lot of disagreement among Nigerians and APC, and we need to work on that. We need to carry the church along. I'm a thorough Catholic, and I know that we need to bring back the Anglican Church, the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, all the born-again churches. We need to bring back to be safely in the hands of President Tinubu. And it's a reconciliation between us and Nigerian people that is more important. And we need to reconcile.
Well, whatever it is, we have the court, which is part of the process of of our electoral system, and indeed, the winners, those declared winners, will always tell you if you are not satisfied, go to the tribunal. When this thing happened and there was some protest, they were always telling people who were protesting that go to the tribunal, don't go on the streets, And I thank God that so far there has not been any major registered violence as a result of the dissatisfaction with what happened during the general election. It should stay that way, because violence is an ill wind that will blow nobody any good. What we should do is to continue to build and have faith in the judicial system, hoping that where wrongs have been committed, they will right the wrongs. With that, I think we can continue to ensure that our democracy endures. This is a major test, but I think it's one that we can beat.
All right, so what for you are the critical areas that need immediate attention for the incoming administration?
Well, we need security first and foremost, because that is the one area that we need to work on. It was there, and indeed it was because of insecurity way back in 2015 that this present regime was swept into office, because they promised that when they come, insecurity will be a thing of the past. But they said that it's worse now than when they met it way back in 2015. And so if the incoming government wants to be taken seriously, first and foremost, they have to work on insecurity. When you have farmers not going to the farm because they are afraid of being kidnapped, when you have people afraid of traveling, because certainly it's not everybody that can travel by air. People are afraid of traveling by road because of the fear of being kidnapped, and so on and so forth. It means that a lot of things will come to a standstill, which is what we have now. And so if you work on insecurity and you bring it down, I think a lot of things will return back to normalcy. So first and foremost, that is what they need to work on. If I must prioritize this, that is first before you go to other areas of our national life.
All right, talking about the legislature, a lot has been said about zoning for the Senate presidency and the Speaker House of Reps. Where for you is the place of competence, antecedent, experience in deciding who takes the helm of affairs at the 10th National Assembly?
Okay, the zoning of the National Assembly is a national issue. It's not just about the National Assembly. It's not just about the National Assembly itself, because it's factored into the national equation of governance. And the 1999 Constitution, as amended, insists that in the act of governance, it shouldn't be done in such a way that some people will be left out. That is what is called federal character. Now, already religion has been an issue, a sore point in the arrangement in the party that is coming to take over at the federal level, where the president-elect and the deputy and his vice are of the one religion. So the man that must be the Senate president, who is going to be number 3, in my opinion, shouldn't be from the same religion, because that would be insensitive to those who are not of that religion. And every decision that is taken after that, even when it could ordinarily have been accepted by Nigerians, will be taken with a pinch of salt, because they will think, oh, it's in furtherance of a particular religion. So we should be very, very sensitive to such things. So those who are going to take the decisions, whether within the National Assembly or outside of the National Assembly, because normally the party will have a say in zoning where it should go, and in most cases they even go as far as to anointing a particular candidate. But whatever they do, competence must be factored in, where the part of the country where that is coming from must also be factored in, and of course acceptability on the part of that house, the Senate. Because if you impose, you can only have yourself to blame, like it happened in the 8th Assembly when those that were anointed were, ignored by their colleagues, and other candidates for the job ended up being there, and that soured the relationship between the executive and the legislature at that time. So all of that is why you have experiences like that to learn from, and so we should, in my opinion, be very, very careful. It's not something that you treat with levity.
What is your general assessment or general words of advice, shall we say, for the incoming administration come May 29th?
I would suggest to them they're coming into a very uncompromising and angry country. And therefore, it would be in the best interest of everybody to carry the whole country along. All this winner-take-all attitude that has been going on in the past governments will not work here. Because even with the best of intentions, Nigeria is going to be very difficult to govern regardless of who the president is. They are going to find a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and that will be very difficult to address. The current president will come and meet a huge debt profile. He's going to come and find that maybe subsidy has been removed. He's going to come and find insurgency and insecurity everywhere. So a lot of issues, and then we've added the new ones of buying money in spite of the effort the CBN is trying to make to address it. It's not going away because they have opened up a new door of corruption, which is, unless somebody really gets up on top of it, it's not shutting down in a hurry. So a lot of issues, a lot of them. So my advice is that the president of Nigeria come 2023 has to be extremely patient, has to be very discerning, has to be very patriotic, and has to understand that he's dealing with a very traumatized nation.
Senator-elect Ireti Kingibe is set to be one of the few female legislators of the incoming 10th Senate. She highlights what she will endeavor to bring to the Senate as the FCT representative under the platform of the Labour Party.
In view of the fact that I will need to work with a minister for some of the things that I want to do, but also understanding that the Senate is the highest elective office in the FCT. So in spite of the fact that it's a legislative position, it has a lot of tacit executive ones. When people have issues about a lot of things, they don't go and complain to the minister because most of the time they don't have access to him. He wasn't elected by them. They come to the senator. So the issues of no water and a lot of the insecurity and even the health issues and education, fine, we would have to solve them together, but it would be up to me to table those issues to the minister and to oversight and ensure, like I feel very strongly about water for the FCT. FCT has no water. Most of it doesn't have any water. The elite areas have, but that's all. Everywhere else you go in the FCT, there's no water. So it's a priority for me as a representative of the people. I know that they have designs of what should be done, and is one of the things I'm going to insist that the Minister of FCT must implement with me, getting funds appropriated for it and oversighting it, ensuring that it gets done. Secondly, insecurity in the FCT. FCT is the capital of Nigeria. We should be the last bastion of the insecurity. But right now we're at the point where you want to go out at 11 o'clock and you're panicking. So that must be addressed immediately. So whenever the new minister comes in, the minister also understands that he has to work with the Senate, because the Senate is actually the equivalent of the State Assembly of FCT. So, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I'll get a people-friendly minister who understands that he's presiding over a population of almost 4 million people, and therefore education for me is very key. Most places in Abuja, the children sit on the floor. In Kuje, I saw the school where they lie on the floor during lessons, so they can lift up their heads like cobras to see what's on the blackboard. This is not good enough. Education is the cornerstone, the foundation of human capital development. And I'm hoping, I've got a lot of programs that I'm trying to work on with development partners, and I call them the Through Hope programs. They're based on the Sustainable Development Goals, because if we can achieve those goals, the quality of life of the people will definitely improve. And I have some, like I Go Chop with Ireti, which is I have a Chop Friday, where I'm trying to ensure that in FCT on Fridays across the 62 wards we feed 1,000 Nigerians. I'm working on the Innovate program, where we have a technology village in the FCT that doesn't do anything, hasn't grown, and so I'm trying to partner with the Bank of Industry already to get funding for the technology village to sort of do a digital economy. It would benefit a lot of young people. And there's so many programs that I'm trying to work in, and I've been finding development partners as I've been going along the way, and obviously they haven't even been inaugurated yet. So I know that as soon as I get inaugurated, some of the banks like GT Access, they're looking at some of my programs. Their ESG ratings also would go up because a lot of them have funds to do certain things, but they don't have the actual programs on the ground to do it with. So I am looking at improving the lives of the people of the FCT, empowering youth and women. Apart from AMAC, most of FCT is agrarian, and yet look at the kind, we don't have any serious farms, so to speak. That I'm going to look into. I'm going to see how to access the Federal Government Intervention Fund for Agriculture for the farms in the FCT. I'm doing a lot of work that already on paper. I could show you my programs afterwards. So I would also have an employment desk in my constituency office that would assist in getting employment for FCT youth. People, there are lots of them who have graduated and cannot find a job. And I know that there must be, after all the ministries, all the parastatals, they are all here. So I think FCT youth should benefit from the fact. It's like having great people come and live in your house. At least the benefit you should have is their presence in your home. And I'm going to levy on that and see how to get more jobs for the youth of FCT.
We certainly wish you very much success in your future endeavors, and it's been a pleasure having you on our program, and thanks very much for your perspectives, distinguished.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
Well, that concludes this edition of the program. Thanks for watching. Till next time, I am Ekene Ndulue. Bye for now.